Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome to Theology Therapist. Today I'm going to walk you through the 10 steps you need to do to get the quickest PTSD recovery. So let's jump in. Okay, so today, 10 steps to follow in order to get the quickest PTSD recovery. I'm gonna walk you through them one by one. So the first step is you need to acknowledge what happened. Why, you might ask? Well, it all starts with acknowledging what happened. You can't actually heal from something if you don't acknowledge that it happened. If you are still avoiding it, if you're still pushing away, if you're still trying to undo what happened or pretend that it didn't happen or avoid those people, places where that remind you of what happened, we're not going to get anywhere. So that's number one. Number two, you have to identify how it's affecting you. You might be like, okay, duh, I already know that. That's why I'm watching this video. But in order to really heal from PTSD and from a traumatic experience, you have to get really clear. You have to identify how it's affecting you. So that means you have to know, well, I'm having a lot of nightmares. I'm getting flashbacks. When I have flashbacks, I have these panic attacks. This is what it feels like in my body. When I am interacting with my mother, we're not even having the same conversation. We are talking about something totally else. Or she might be here today, but I'm still back there. And I'm still wanting to have that conversation, even if those aren't the words that we're saying, right? So you need to get really clear on how that PTSD or that traumatic event is impacting you today. Maybe it impacts your ability to make decisions. Maybe it impacts your ability to make good decisions or to make safe decisions, right? So a lot of times PTSD can have an impact on the types of decisions that we make. So maybe we don't make as many good or safe decisions. And the other part of that is also getting clear on what you're avoiding. So avoidance is the aspect of PTSD that maintains the cycle of PTSD. And so it is extremely important to get clear on what you're avoiding. With that, you have to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself, and you have to say, this is what's going on. We're dropping the veil. We're getting clear. I'm not pretending anymore. This is what's going on. This is how it's impacting me. And it is disrupting my daily life. Right? I'm struggling at work and it's impacting my performance. That third step is to be honest. In this process, we're acknowledging, we're identifying, in this process, you have to be honest about that, right? Because if you're not, and if there are things that still feel like too much to confront right now, it's being honest about that, okay? And so that's an important part of this, because if not, that avoidance cycle is going to continue. So number 4 is to stop the avoidance cycle. What happens after a traumatic event, or like I mentioned, how PTSD develops or maintains itself is through avoidance. So avoidance says that this was too big, it was too fast, it was too much, it was all at once, and I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I don't know what to do, so I can't do anything with it or about it. And so in order to not think about it, not do anything about it, we will go to great lengths to not do that, to not think about it, to not do anything with it. Some of those links often include substances. It includes risky behavior. So maybe driving too fast or risky sexual behaviors. It also includes, though, behavioral avoidance. So maybe it's not going to therapy, or maybe it's avoiding a conversation with a partner or a family member. Maybe it's also cognitive avoidance, so thinking about it. So whenever you feel maybe that kind of panic attack coming up, and that you start to have that, like those memories start to, right, like you have those intrusive thoughts, it's like, no, there's this cognitive, I can't think about it. And so you do, like, cognitive avoidance happens a lot with busyness. And so we keep ourselves so busy that we don't have time. We don't have time to think about it or to do anything with it, right? So we have to be honest with ourselves about what happened and what's going on so that we can stop the avoidance cycle. Okay, so 1 through 4, steps 1 through 4 are really like that beginning stage, and is really arduous a lot of times. I mean, it's really that emotional upheaval because it is hard. It's really hard work to do this. And like this video is about like the 10 quickest like steps you need for recovery, but it doesn't say like the 10 easiest steps for recovery. So this stuff is hard work. The next few steps are about taking steps 1 through 4 head on. So here we go. Step number 5, you have to challenge those negative beliefs. So after a traumatic event, a lot of times we have these negative beliefs that kind of happen. It might be like, I'm unlovable, or I'm broken, or it's my fault, or I deserve this, or I could have prevented this from happening, right? Like some of these, there tend to be a whole lot of them, a whole lot of these beliefs that actually keep you recovering from PTSD. They keep you stuck. And so what we have to do, what you have to do, is after you have acknowledged, identified, been honest, and stopped the avoidance cycle, you have to challenge those negative beliefs. Because if not, they're going to keep keeping you stuck. And so once you have challenged those negative beliefs, the next thing that you have to do is to adopt some more realistic or helpful beliefs. If you had the belief, I wore a red dress and so I was assaulted, right? Like we're putting the blame for the assault on the victim and specifically on what they were wearing, right? A red dress, which happens often. So I wore a red dress, so I was assaulted. A new, realistic, more helpful belief might sound something like, what I wore doesn't dictate whether or not someone should assault me. That has nothing to do with that. And what I wear doesn't give anyone the right to violate me, my space, etc. So those are really different beliefs. The first one puts, like I said, the blame on the victim and specifically on what they're wearing for someone else's actions. And something else that they couldn't have seen coming. The new belief, what it does is it accepts what happened as like it happened, but it in no way accepts responsibility. It says, I wore what I wore, the dress, me wearing a dress doesn't give anybody the right to harm me, right? So those are really different. We've done steps 1 through 6. We are now doing step 7. Step 7 is to practice embodiment. What do I mean by that? So yoga, martial arts, breathing, meditation, walking, anything. Like embodiment means really being in your body. So that could even be something around art or maybe journaling. But whenever you've experienced a traumatic event, you often experience this sort of disconnection with your body. And so we need to undo that. We need to get back in your body. So intentionally doing things that are good for yourself. So yoga, martial arts, walking, nature, art, like any of those things. But be specific about getting back into your body and doing something that feels good. Number 8, Number 8 is to synthesize what happened. Okay, so now that you've gotten really clear on what happened, how is it impacting you, you've challenged those beliefs, you understood like what was keeping you stuck, and you've got some new beliefs going on now that actually make you feel less bad. You gotta just synthesize. You gotta make short what happened, right? So that could be writing a letter that you might not mail. That could be in journaling. That could be maybe you set up a video, your phone, and you take a video of yourself and you synthesize, right? And maybe you watch that video back. There are lots of different ways that you could synthesize that new information, but you want to say, now this is what happened, right? It's paying attention to, or any of those old beliefs cropping up. And am I actually integrating this new information that I have in these new beliefs that I've come to adopt? So we want to put all of that together now. Number 9, when you are doing that, you want to envision your life now. You're at this part, like you've come so far. You want to envision your life now. Wow, yeah, like less nightmares, less panic attacks. Wow. I mean, that would be huge. That would be a game changer. At this point, can you picture it? Are you including that in that summary, right? Like, can you envision your new life now? Because step number 10 is you going out from here. Step number 10 is you reclaiming your existence. You understand what happened and your role or lack of role in it. You have gotten into your body. You have these new beliefs that are honestly a bit more accurate, and you are envisioning this new life. It's now time to go reclaim your existence back from PTSD. I hope this was helpful. Remember to subscribe with notifications, so press that bell icon before you go so you get updated on all new weekly releases. And if you liked this video, I am going to put up here in the corner a link for a different video that I think you're gonna like too. So I'll see you next time.